Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be taking a look at an article from The Hill. Now this was written by Tal Axelrod and published on January 17th. It's funny how they're trying to kind of portray this as like, oh no, Russian interference, Russian meddling, Russian this, Russian that, Russian dressing. It's ridiculous. Kansas City radio station signs deal to broadcast Russia state-owned media program. And what's funny is how they don't expect people to, even though it's a short article, read to the end. And yeah, basically it's like, oh no, my Russia conspiracy bullshit. And so, I mean, I was going to call it on making videos at the point that I am right now, because I've done a couple. And I saw this article on another Hill article that I went through. And I said, you know what? I really need to cover this after reading it, because this is some messed up shit. And it's the Democrats' bullshit, because heaven forbid, a Russian news outlet say something critical of Hillary, because, oh my God, that's fucking Russian interference these days. At least since, the 2016 presidential election, doing something like that classified as Russian interference. But if, they were saying bad shit about Trump, or anything critical of him, they would have been perfectly fucking fine with it on the note of the Democrats. But of course, because they weren't sucking Hillary's fucking, throbbing, sulfur-smelling clit, they're evil propagandists who are trying to take, down our democracy. A local Kansas City radio station reportedly signed a lease with a local radio operator that will allow it to broadcast 6 hours of programming from a Russia state-owned media outlet. So what? What gets me is you don't see NBC Universal / Xfinity / Comcast, however you want to look at it. You don't see them having to fall under the scrutiny for broadcasting, say, BBC World News or Sky News or any cable provider for that matter. Sky News and BBC News are foreign news outlets, but you don't see them having to deal with this bullshit. You don't see them going to have having to jump through the hoops that this guy, you'll see, had to jump through. On the note of this radio station, the person that's representing the radio station, Arnold Ferroto, or I can't pronounce his name, but we'll get into that. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. You don't see these companies when they have foreign news outlets on their broadcast mediums having to do the bullshit that he has. It's ridiculous. The Kansas City Star reported Friday that Florida-based company RM Broadcasting LLC has agreements to air Radio Sputnik on the Alpine Broadcast Corp, which broadcasts on 3 frequencies in the Kansas City area. The agreement allows the Russia-backed programming to be broadcast from 6 to 9 a.m. and from 6 to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Which, oh no, drive time. They're really scared about, drive time, people being in their cars, actually hearing something from like the non-legacy media here in the U.S. It's so friggin' funny. So, oh no, it's my Russian interference. What if it was actually true what the Sputnik saying? What are you going to say about that? Oh, it's my Russian conspiracy. Oh, the Russians are out to get us. The newspaper noted that the Office of the Director of National Intelligence found in 2017 that Sputnik and another Russian state-backed media outlet were involved in Moscow's efforts to influence the 2016 election. It was complete bullshit. It was literally articles that were, news stories and articles from Sputnik and RT that were critical of fucking Hillary Clinton. They did not like that. No, that was Russian interference because they were critical of Hillary fucking Clinton. That was literally their grounds for Russian interference. They put out stories that were critical of Hillary, that talked about her email scandal, that talked about how she wanted to do a no-fly zone over Iran, and that was kind of sketchy, and that could lead to war, which it would have. That was Russian interference from Sputnik and RT in trying to influence the 2016 election. Come on now. The outlets contributed to the influence campaign by serving as a platform for Kremlin messaging to Russian and international audiences, the DNI assessment added. Yes, being critical of Hillary Clinton was supposedly doing that. And because, they did that to cover their asses with the whole thing, with the fact of, we got to push this Russian conspiracy, This poor dude, Arnold Ferolito, has to deal with such fucking ridiculous bullshit. It's not even friggin' funny. For literally 6 hours a day. A quarter of a day. Taking money. He's not the one doing it. He facilitated them to get airtime. He's a middleman. And he had to jump through fucking hoops for it. And they made it so that it's financially disadvantageous. Wow. That was hard to get out. For him to do it. Intentionally, I'm sure. But anyway, Arnold Ferolito, who runs RM Broadcasting, disputed the assessment while criticizing the government's requirement that the Florida-based company register as a foreign agent. And they shouldn't have to for what they're doing. I don't see why they should. If it was, say, a different situation, maybe. But all they're doing is facilitating them to the ability to broadcast. And if that's the case, which it is, then why isn't fucking, Comcast, NBC Universal, why aren't they having to register as foreign agents because of having BBC World News? It's a foreign news outlet. Being broadcast on their systems. Why aren't other cable providers having to do that? Same exact standard should be held for this guy and for them. There should be no different standards here. It's the same exact thing. It's fucking ridiculous that they made him register as a foreign agent. 90% of the programming is generated right here in the United States, Ferolito told the Star. Yeah. And it's not like he's even really, what he's doing is he's just selling airtime. From the sound of it, he at least got some airtime and now he's reselling it. And that should be perfectly fine. That's no different than fucking Comcast or Time Warner giving BBC World News a channel, taking and paying for their channel. If you want this guy to have to register as a foreign agent, if they're going to have BBC World News, then they should have to register as foreign agents. It's that simple. It's the same exact standard. If you're going to hold him to hit this guy to that standard, they should be held to it. I just sell airtime. That's all I do, he added. The government put a gun to my head and forced me to sign. And he shouldn't have had to do it. He should be fighting this in court. This is ridiculous. He's a middleman. He has no involvement with Sputnik or RT, which is the whole point of this registering as a foreign agent. Is that you're supposed to. Oh my God. RM Broadcasting was ordered in 2019 to register as a foreign agent under the U.S. Foreign Agents Registration Act, which mandates that individuals or entities in the U.S. acting on a foreign government's behalf make public their relationships, finances, and activities. But he's not working on their behalf. He literally sold them airtime. How is that working on their behalf? He can sell that airtime to anyone. If he sells it to them, he's now all of a sudden working for them. He is a separate entity. He is his own business. Well, it's an LLC that he's running, but it's a separate entity. They're not operating on the behalf of this foreign government. On the note of Russia, they're not doing that. If they went to someplace else and said, all right, I want airtime, well, then, are you going to make them register? I don't think so. I mean, RT's on cable providers, or any of those cable providers registered as foreign agents? Of course not. I'm positive they're not. This is just singling this guy out. You don't see any of these cable providers that have RT or BBC World News or any other foreign news outlet. You don't see them having to do what he had to do. This is ridiculous. This is why, like I said, I was going to call it, but I saw this article and I said, I got to cover this. This is ridiculous. This is not right. Following the order, the station revealed that it received $1.43 million in payments from a Russian government-owned news agency to purchase airtime for Radio Sputnik from 2017 to 2019. That ain't even shit. $1.43 million for airtime. That's not shit. How much money does RT pay those cable providers? Are any of them registered? No. How much money does BBC World News? Well, that's probably subscription, so they're probably getting paid from the cable provider. But how? Same exact principle, though. How much money gets exchanged in that business transaction between, say, Comcast and the BBC with BBC World News, or some cable provider and RT? A hell of a lot more than that. And you know that there's no foreign agent registration with that bullshit. I mean, this is just ridiculous, but they put this at the end because they're trying to paint this as a situation where this is a big bad man who's helping to push Russian propaganda. So they don't lead off with the fact of what he says here and make it look like, that he's getting bent over and fucked because he's getting bent over and fucked. No, they try to make it look like, well, he's trying to help the Russians. They don't pay me for anything other than the airtime, said Ferrolito. It's costing me more money than I'm making. That's the sad part about it. Yeah. So he only got a measly 1.43. Not much. And it's costing him more than that, the way he's talking. Because they decided to single him out. Now I wonder if his other radio stations may be conservative, may not be anti-Trump, and he might have been targeted. I mean, it just kind of seems that way to me. Because this makes absolutely no sense. That he is getting singled out like this. RT, for being critical of Hillary, that whole foreign agent registration thing came about with it and Sputnik as a result. There are a lot of cable providers that offer RT. Any of them registered? No. But this guy had to? I mean, I'm repeating myself, but this is ridiculous. It goes to show the double standard. It goes to show why this needs to get, more coverage and be brought to more people's attention, because it's not right. They're literally paying for airtime. He's not a representative of them. They came to him and said, look, you got airtime for us to buy? And he might not have had it directly, and he went to the other radio station. He went to that radio station and said, look, I need to lease some airtime. Then he resold it. That's the American way. If you can buy something and turn around and sell it for a profit, shit. That's the American dream, to be able to do something like that. And because he tried to do that, and because it just so happened to be Sputnik, he gets bent over and fucked. Because, he's supposedly some agent. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. But anyway. Yeah, I've covered this well enough. I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.